The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emasculation, its desecrated skin pulled tautly over its bones, with its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep to their sockets. Wendigo, flesh eater of the forests. In Minnesota's North Woods, the forests of the Great Lake region, and the central regions of Canada are said to live a malevolent being called a Wendigo. This creature may appear as a monster with some human characteristics, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them monstrous. It is historically associated with cannibalism, murder, insatiable greed, and cultural taboos against such behaviors. Known by several names: Wendigo, Wittigo, Wittico, and Weetigo. Each roughly translates to the evil spirit that devours mankind. This creature has long been known among the indigenous people of the region. They have described them as giants, many times larger than human beings. Although descriptions can vary somewhat, common to all these cultures is the view that the Wendigo is a malevolent, cannibalistic, supernatural being strongly associated with winter, the north, coldness, famine, and starvation. The Algonquin legend describes the creature as a giant with a heart of ice. Sometimes it is thought to be entirely made of ice, its body skeletal and deformed, with missing lips and toes. The Ojibwa describe it. It was a large creature as tall as a tree, with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss, its footprints full of blood, and it ate any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory, and those were the lucky ones. Sometimes the Wendigo choose to possess a person instead, and then the luckless individual became a Wendigo himself, hunting down those he had once loved and feasting upon their flesh. According to the legends, a Wendigo is created whenever a human resorts to cannibalism to survive. In the past, this occurred more often when Indians and settlers found themselves stranded in the bitter snows and ice of the North Woods, sometimes stranded for days. Survivors might have felt compelled to cannibalize the dead survivors. Other versions of the legend cite that a Wendigo might also possess humans who displayed extreme greed, gluttony, and excess. Thus, the myth served as a method of encouraging cooperation and moderation. Native American versions of the creature spoke of a gigantic spirit over 15 feet tall that had once been human but had been transformed into a creature of magic. Though the descriptions of the creature vary slightly, the Wendigo is generally said to have glowing eyes, long yellowed fangs, terrible claws, and overly long tongues. Sometimes they are described as having shallow, yellowish skin, and other times they are covered with matted hair. The creature is said to have several skills and powers, including stealth, is a near-perfect hunter, knows and uses every inch of its territory, and can control the weather through dark magic. They are portrayed as simultaneously gluttonous and emaciated from starvation. Wendigos are said to be cursed to wander the land, eternally seeking to fulfill their voracious appetite for human flesh. And if there is nothing left to eat, it starves to death. The legend lends its name to the disputed modern medical term Wendigo psychosis. Some psychiatrists consider it a syndrome that creates an intense craving for human flesh and a fear of becoming a cannibal. Ironically, this psychosis occurs in people living around the Great Lakes, Canada, and the United States. Wendigo psychosis usually develops in the winter in individuals isolated by heavy snow for long periods. The initial symptoms are poor appetite, nausea, and vomiting. Subsequently, the individual develops a delusion of being transformed into a Wendigo monster. People who have Wendigo psychosis increasingly see others around them as being edible. At the same time, they have an exaggerated fear of becoming cannibal. A well-known case involving Wendigo psychosis was that of Jack Pitt, an OG Creed chief and medicine man known for his powers at defeating Wendigo. Hitler claimed to have defeated 14 Wendigos during his lifetime. Some of these creatures were said to have been sent by enemy shamans, and others were members of his band, who had been taken with the insatiable, incurable desire to eat human flesh. In the latter case, family members usually asked Hitler to kill a very sick loved one before they turned Wendigo. Hitler's brother, Peter Flett, was killed after turning Wendigo when the food ran out on a trading expedition. Hudson Bay Company trader and Creed. The missionaries knew the Wendigo legend, though they often explained it as mental illness or superstition. Regardless, several incidences of people turning Wendigo and eating human flesh are documented in the company's records. In 1907, the Canadian authorities arrested Fiddler and his brother Joseph for murder. Jack committed suicide, but Joseph was tried and sentenced to life in prison. He ultimately was granted a pardon but died 3 days later in jail before receiving the news of his pardon. The frequency of Wendigo psychosis cases decreased sharply in the 20th century as the Native Americans came into greater and greater contact with Western ideologies. However, Wendigo creature sightings are still reported, especially in northern Ontario, near the Cave of the Wendigo, and around Kenora, where traders have allegedly spotted it, trackers and trappers for decades. Many still believe that the Wendigo roams the woods of northern Minnesota and Canada. Many have given Kenora, Ontario, Canada, the title of Wendigo capital of the world. Sightings of the creature in this area have continued well into the new millennium. And that was another episode of Monster Madness in October. I hope you enjoyed this. The Wendigo sounds like a scary creature I never wish to encounter, and do not wish to be possessed by an evil spirit. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below what you thought. Did you know about the Wendigo? Thank you for stopping by, and until next time, travelers, take care. Remember to hit that like button because, well, you know, likes are like cookies for YouTubers. We just can't resist them. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribing is like adopting a virtual unicorn. And who wouldn't want a majestic creature like that in their lives? So join the party, hit the subscribe button, and keep following. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep those tinfoil hats closed. You never know when they might come in handy. Until our next extraordinary adventure, this is Clifton3D signing off. Stay weird, my friends.